Today's video is going to be on a special topic, Ethernet. This video is divided into Ethernet 1 and Ethernet 2, and the topic is going to be how to use Ethernet for control, data acquisitions, and even for Internet of Things. Now, we have been listening to your lecture on RS-232, RS-485, then why not Ethernet? Ethernet is very popular, very easy to implement, and it's a global connectivity. It has high bandwidth and is backbone to Internet of Things. But Ethernet is non-deterministic. Every packet is sent via TCP protocol, triggers the receiving stack to send back the acknowledgement packet. That means it is a handshake mode of communication. Because of which it is not deterministic. But how much determinism you need, that is a question. Lots of automation applications are very slow, and comparing other field buses in factory automation, RS-485, etc., shows that Ethernet seemed the most promising, with the single drawback of non-deterministic data transfers. Is simple standard Ethernet good for control systems? In the Ethernet, IEEE 80.3 is non-deterministic. Hence, it is not suitable only for hard real-time application, but it is suitable for soft real-time applications. What is hard real-time system? Hard real-time applications are very hard, as it can lead to catastrophic events such as death. For example, flight controls, train controls, etc. Whereas soft real-time systems not as hard as the hard real-time systems, but it's liable to break. It's not any death critical system. Examples of SRT are online reservation systems or temperature measurement systems, etc. Now, RT Ethernet is also gaining popularity in very critical applications. For example, as you know, the bandwidth of Ethernet is going up like anything every day, and 10 gigabits per second Ethernet can even run 1000 times faster than one of the most common field buses, which is called a Profibus, which runs up to 12 Mbps. Now, jitter is an important term which you should know while doing any deterministic control system, and it's a deadline within the time with which the execution must be finished. And RT Ethernet protocols like Ethernet CAT, EtherCAT, Ethernet, Profinet, Modbus, TCP, etc. are examples of low jitter systems and provide low latency and determinism. Ethernet is really good, then why not? Now, this is a communication between Mac and another Mac. Though it looks like a communication between two IPs, ultimately it's a Mac to Mac communication. but that is based on CSA MAS CD, it's a carrier sense multiple access and collision detection. And you can see some of the common control applications is like low temperature sensors, low speed sensors, which needs tens of milliseconds, even it can be once in a second. Drive control systems might need milliseconds. Motion control systems need hundreds of microseconds. Then very advanced systems need some microseconds accuracy. Standard Ethernet, which we use in office applications, when we use it for control applications also, it follows a 7-layer architecture. What you see is the Ethernet wire and cable and circuitries, which are the physical layer, and what you see the internet, HTTP, everything is on the application layer. Now an Ethernet frame looks like that, and you should remember the data sizes are quite big, 46 to 1500 bytes. There is a start of conversion like RS-232, you had a start of conversion and end of conversion, parity, etc. Here also, here a preamble, then start frame delimiter, then source and destination address, which are 6 bytes, and then there is a CRC check also at the end. Source and destination addresses are 48-bit addresses like 192.168.1.2 like that. Now Beckhoff algorithm is something one should understand while dealing with any determinism. It defines the waiting time for the stations involved in the collision, how much time the station should wait to retransmit. Now when two transmitters transmit, say at the same time, they collide each other and it gets into a jam sequence according to Beckhoff algorithm. Now let's say A and B starts transmitting at the same time, they collide, and there is something slot time which is equal to 2t. T is the maximum propagation delay of the network. If it's a fiber optical cable, it will be faster. Now Beckhoff algorithm says if n is the number of collisions, then if it is one time collided, it will retransmit. It will go on retransmitting 16 times. Suppose the device on the other end is off, then after that it accepts failure and then transfers to higher layers. A random number R is selected from the set, and you can see that 0, 1, 2, 4, 2 to the power k, and the node waits R into slot time, R multiplied by slot time. Now that way you can say that Beckhoff algorithm is a collision resolution mechanism which is used in random access MAC protocols. If collision takes place between two stations, you may restart transmission as soon as they can after the collision. Let's consider again the situation A and B are transmitting at the same time and they collide. Now there has been much discussion to how to improve the determinism, how to reduce the retransmissions, how to ensure the time of delivery. One method is use master-slave communication, like in Optomux. There was a protocol like Modbus or Optomux in which they have a master-slave configuration. If master transmit, slave receives. So there is no question of any large collisions. Other way of improving determinism is use faster and faster Ethernet. That means if the traffic is less, much less compared to the 100 Mbps, then chance of collision is also less. Now, another important device which we use to reduce collision are the switches, network switches. Network switches make its own routes between source and destination to reduce the collisions. And Ethernet switches also use store and forward mechanism. This also can reduce the collisions, and switch also by itself has a small latency, internal latency. Now, if your system is communicating at 100 Mbps, then the time for the store and forward of each frame is generally of the order of 10 milliseconds for small frames and 130 milliseconds for maximum sized Ethernet frames. Also, the jitter is fairly small, approximately 1 millisecond per switch. This delay is generally very small compared to the latency of most of the TCP/IP devices. What is RTT? Round trip time is the duration in milliseconds it takes for a network request to go from a starting point to a destination and back again to the starting point. This is an important metric in determining the health of the connection of the local area network. And the easiest way to determine the RTT is the ping utility. When you say ping to a server 5 times 64 kilobytes of data, the time it takes to go and come back, and how much is the loss happening, everything that can measure. And you can see that in this 17.604 millisecond is higher than the rest. Now in a WAN, when you suppose somebody is communicating from Singapore to New York, when the user in New York makes a request, the network traffic is transferred across many different routers in different physical locations before terminating at the server in Singapore. Now, the server in Singapore then sends back. I am talking about a communication between New York and Singapore. The server in Singapore then sends a response back across the internet to the location in New York. Once a request terminates in New York, a rough estimate can be made the amount of time it takes to go round trip between the two locations as seen in the screen. It's an important estimate. Now, list of factors which are affecting RTT are: what kind of cable you are using. Are you using a fiber optical cable or copper? Naturally, speeds are different. And what is the traffic? If the traffic is bigger, then definitely the RTT is also higher. Now, server response time. Is the server able to respond very fast? Now, node count and congestion. I mean, when you transmit, how many nodes it goes through and how much of congestion is there. Physical distance. How much is the distance? Is it between India and America? Thank you.